Hello everybody, it's the future once again, and welcome back to another movie review. If you've seen my Pixels 2015 movie review, it's going to go off of that outline that I did on that one. So, the only difference is, this time, I'm going to have guests from time to time, and this time, C-Dub from Chronochord Media, a guy who is kind of familiar here on the future page. He's done a classic film commentary with me. What's up, man?
Oh, man, I'm so stoked. I went and saw Star Wars Episode 7 today at 3:20 this afternoon, and man,
yes.
Great. I can't, there's so much good stuff to talk about, and I know you and I have a lot to discuss. We haven't got to discuss it, just so everybody knows. We're literally giving you our first take right now.
Yeah, this is pretty much a first impression review, just like I did on the other one that I did. I'm fresh out of the theater home. I saw it at 7. What did this run? About 2 hours and 10 minutes?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah, I don't have many complaints, but there were some things that were kind of strange to me. I don't know how you really want to begin this off. 3 decades after the defeat of the Galactic Empire, a new threat arises. The First Order attempts to rule the galaxy, and only a ragtag group of heroes can stop them, along with the help of the Resistance. Now, that is what they give you as a description for the movie, but there was a lot more going on here than the description. Obviously, trying to keep it spoiler-free here, so if anybody didn't see the movie, we don't want to spoil anything too bad. But man, from the get-go to the end of this movie, it was non-stop action. I mean, if you're looking for action, this is definitely the movie to see.
Absolutely, man. I think I had a couple of pros and cons here, really, about the movie. Maybe if we want to try that system.
Okay.
I would start off, just in the spirit of keeping it spoiler-free, discussing the way that the film was structured and everything. The number one thing to me is, as soon as that theme popped up and the text crawl began, the very beginning of the movie, immediately it grabbed me, man. It literally sent a chill up my spine.
Yeah.
Because, as I said in my review video, I realized I've literally been waiting almost all of my life to watch this.
Because you didn't even get to see the prequels in theaters, did you?
I saw episode 2 and 3 in theaters.
Okay. Yeah, I see the first prequel, which was kind of like this kind of a deal because it had been so long since the Star Wars was released. I also remember the old ones, but I didn't see those in theaters. But yeah, I've been waiting forever for them to continue the story. And when that scroll hit and it said a galaxy a long time ago, man, it was really cool.
Yeah, man. I thought the text crawl was great, too. I kind of wondered how they were going to drop you right into the story like they always do. And the text crawl did a fantastic job of setting everything up.
Right off, we figured out that Luke had been missing, and there was a missing piece to the puzzle. Did they say that in the description?
I can't necessarily recall. I do recall, however, that it mentions that, which this is really not so much of a spoiler, it's just to tell you how the table was set.
Right.
Princess Leia had sent her best fighter pilots on a mission to try to recover any information about Luke Skywalker's whereabouts.
Okay. And at the same time, the First Order is also looking for BB-8, the droid BB-8. I guess he contains a chip that has a piece of the map where Luke Skywalker was located. I thought that was a pretty good basis for the movie there.
Yeah.
Keeping you wondering the whole movie, are they gonna find Luke? What's going on here?
Yeah, man. I thought it was really good to use the droid as a major plot device rather than just a side character.
Right. I did like how they kept the humor this time instead of trying to put like a Jar Jar Binks in there. It was directed towards like BB-8.
See, here's my thing. This was my major talking point as far as cons of my review. This movie had, in my opinion, it had probably like 50% too many ha-ha moments.
Yeah, there was a lot of laughs, although I didn't get a laugh out of them. And I'm not going to laugh unless something's funny. I got a laugh out of like 1 or 2 maybe puns that they did.
Yes, I mean, I feel like if they would have cut half of those cheesy moments, it would have been great. The way that I put it to a friend of mine earlier is that I wish it was more Lord of the Rings or more serious.
Right.
And maybe a little bit less like Avengers, Hulk, Iron Man, where you get those moments of that walking the razor's edge of the fourth wall.
It didn't seem like they were trying to be funny in the original ones.
Well, and there were cheesy lines in the
Yes.
originals. I
Yeah.
mean, and there were little ha-ha moments, but like I said, I feel like they were a little bit less frequent. And another thing that I mentioned is that that's kind of just a symptom of Hollywood today and the audiences who go to movies.
Just trying to feed off the old movies.
Absolutely. And, another thing is these movies, the Star Wars movies, Disney owning them, they obviously want them to be accessible to everybody, whether they've seen the old movies or not.
Right.
I think they did a great job of that, number one.
Yeah.
But I honestly feel like if they would have just cut half of those, like, ha-ha moments, that I feel like they took me out of that suspension of disbelief and being completely immersed in the Star Wars universe.
I almost felt uncomfortable when they had those laugh moments.
But I will say that it was good that those lines and those moments were kind of spread out. It wasn't, like you said, with like a Jar Jar Binks, just a one character where it's like, oh my God,
Yeah,
I hate
they
this
did
guy.
do a good job with that. And the way they executed it with BB-8 and stuff like that was way better than Jar Jar.
Absolutely. But, man, the number one point to me is that I went into this wanting that suspension of disbelief and being able to get in there and be completely immersed in the film like the very first time I ever saw the originals. And I got that. And leaving the theater, it got exactly what I wanted. It left me wanting more.
Yeah.
And that's a rarity these days with movies, to be honest. I don't go to the theaters a lot. I'm not really big into like the superhero movies so much that have been blockbusters in recent years. But man, I cannot wait for episode 8. Holy cow. And Rogue One.
Some of the things we'd have to spoil too much if we really wanted to talk about some of the major things in the movie. But, most people know about Han Solo, Chewbacca, and Princess Leia returning in the movie, Luke as well.
Absolutely.
What did you think about their roles in the movie? It seemed that Princess Leia was pretty old.
Well,
Not the same kind of an actress as she was back then, it seemed like.
Well, Carrie Fisher's had a rough, whatever it's been, 20, 30 years. She's lived hard, but, she's in a good place in life, and I'm just glad to have her back.
Right. It was cool having the same actress, but it just didn't have that same feel, in my opinion.
I feel like Harrison Ford did a fantastic job.
He did do a fantastic job for his... I can't really spoil anything, so... He just did a fantastic job.
Absolutely. I think he did a fantastic job in this movie of capturing himself as Han Solo all these years later and really thinking, what would Han Solo be like all these years later? What would he be doing?
They really made it cool, like you were actually meeting those characters again. The way that they were introduced is a bit suspect in my opinion. It could have been done better in my opinion. I didn't get it.
I understood it, but I also kind of saw it coming a little bit once a certain event happened in the movie. And, I have to say that, which I never understand this. I'm not sure if you're one of these people, and I'm sorry if you are, but the only moment whenever there was that weird, let's all clap at the screen, where nobody hears us, we're just clapping at ourselves, was whenever Han Solo and Chewbacca first made their introduction.
Yeah, I had a lot of claps and stuff in that part too.
That was the only one for me except for the very end.
Yes.
Which, hey, the very end, that's fine. I understand it. But clapping during the movie, honestly, not to turn a no bad language review into a bad language review, but seriously, don't fucking clap at the screen in the middle of the movie.
Yeah, there's a lot of people cheering on I didn't, but a lot of people popped on that too. It's like you knew they were going to be in the movie.
I get it, and trust me, I felt like doing that down inside, but you just can't do that.
But then they didn't pop on Leia.
No, they didn't pop for Leia in my showing either.
And they didn't pop at the ending either.
Oh, the people honestly, man, the ending.
They clapped at the ending, but I'm talking about the ending scene.
Yes.
They did not clap like they did when they saw Han Solo and Chewbacca.
I heard quite a few audible
well, everybody knew that was coming. Tell me you didn't know.
I knew it was coming.
The ending was predictable, and also I knew what was going on with Rey throughout the entire movie.
I definitely did, but there's certain subtleties in storytelling whenever you follow the 3-act format like Star Wars has.
Finn didn't end up being as big a character as I thought he would be.
No, but I think
he was there to throw you off, and more than anything, I thought.
A little bit. I have an interesting theory about Finn. I have a really, really interesting theory about him, and I'm not sure if it's just speculation or whatever it could be, but we'll have to discuss that off air and maybe talk about it some other time, because I don't want to spoil anything for anybody.
Right.
Plant seeds for anybody who hasn't seen it yet. I gotta ask you, did you notice at the theaters, how was the mix of adults and children?
More adult in people like our age.
Mine as well. I mean, as we're recording this, it's a Sunday. So, December 20th, the movie opened on Thursday.
Right.
And I went to the 3:20 afternoon show, and it was more crowded than most movies are.
Right.
But it certainly wasn't like opening night style crowded.
No, I didn't expect it to be that crowded.
And I gotta say, I was really pleased, other than the stupid clapping thing at the screen, by the whole movie-going experience. It was good. I wasn't crammed in there with a bunch of people. I had empty seats on both sides of me, so that's always nice. And it was probably a blend of about 60-40 adults to kids.
Same with me as well. And also, it was, like, packed, but it wasn't like, where you had people were having to pull out extra chairs to sit on.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't a sellout, but, super cool. I had this weird moment whenever I was driving to the theaters, whenever I thought, and I was like, man, it's literally the future. Like, that time whenever I used to think whenever I was a kid, man, there's going to be an episode 7 one day. Like, that's now. It's now, right now.
Yeah, it is weird. It finally is here. I heard about it like 2 years ago that they were going to do it, and man, it took a long time to get here, but I'm glad it did. I'm overall pleased with it. One thing that I really did not like about it is that Supreme Leader was so non-Star Wars.
I feel like he was, but I also feel like we're going to learn more about him.
What
and how
was
he
that
became
about?
To be.
Unnecessary. And in a lot of the CGI characters they used had the same facial features.
Similar, for sure, but,
I didn't
Star
think
Wars,
they needed that. They should have made him more puppet-like, like a Yoda.
I was a little bit wary because I'm obviously a fan of the older cuts of the movies. I think a lot of people are who saw them that way before the remaster. Probably enjoy the puppets and stuff like that, but, I gotta say I liked the CGI as far as the space shots and the atmospheric shots. I thought all that was really
but I'm
good.
talking about the character that led you into the lightsaber. She would have been better as a puppet, Yoda-like puppet type thing, in my opinion. It would have made the movie more magical. She didn't seem believable. None of the CGI characters did. That Supreme Leader was unbelievable to me, and I've never seen a 40-foot tall man in Star Wars films, so...
As I said, I have a feeling we're going to learn more about how Supreme Leader Snoke came to be which this isn't a spoiler. This information was out months ago. I read it.
Right.
That Supreme Leader Snoke is like 20 to 40 feet tall. He's huge.
Right.
But I have a feeling maybe he became that some other way, perhaps.
CGI'd to high hell.
Yeah, well, that's certain how it happened. I gotta say one thing that I really liked too is this movie felt a little more gritty than I expected as far as we actually saw some blood.
Yeah, they really went more serious tone throughout the movie with some comic relief, but Absolutely. It was more of a serious movie than the prequels were.
I really liked the way that the damage looked whenever stormtroopers took damage and stuff. I thought it looked super cool.
The blood streaked down.
Instead of, there were your classic sparks, flying off and everything, but I thought overall they did a fantastic job of taking what's old and making it new.
Yeah, I thought so too. I think they did. I guess they did a great job for what they had on their hands to have to continue the story like that. I don't know. Absolutely. I can't really disagree with a lot of the stuff they did, but some of my complaints were just that Supreme Leader and some of the spoiler things I don't want to spoil, but I saw a lot of it coming.
One more little spoiler-free negative that I had, and this is another thing I mentioned in that review that I did, is initially in the very beginning of the movie, I was impressed with how they dropped Kylo Ren into it and established that he was evil. cool. But by about the halfway point, maybe a little bit later, I started to feel that Kylo Ren is more of a tragic figure. Kind of like Anakin Skywalker was.
Yeah, and having him throw those temper tantrums, and I didn't like Kylo Ren as much as I thought I would like him.
You know,
he was really their attempt to be too much like Vader.
Well, it's hard not to draw a direct comparison whenever Kylo Ren looks so much like Darth Vader
and does the same talk.
Similar voice effects with the helmet, and of course he has, no spoiler here, we all saw it in the trailer, he has Darth Vader's charred helmet remains.
Yes, and how he got that we don't know. I would have liked the backstory on that or something.
Yeah, absolutely.
They didn't give you no backstory on Kylo Ren.
Honestly, it's really hard to...
They jam it all in.
It's hard for me not to draw the comparison between Vader and Kylo Ren, and that was the thing to me, is that Vader was intimidating and evil throughout the original 3 movies.
Right, and Kylo Ren was definitely not.
And his struggle, perhaps, his story of
his motives.
light versus dark,
right?
That wasn't really introduced until the end.
Right, and its motives. But then you got to question what he said, too, because of what he did right after that. So...
Yeah.
And then, I guess he's still around. The Supreme Leader, when the planet was falling, wanted to talk to Kylo Ren. Whenever Kylo Ren got split in between him and Rey, in an awesome ending lightsaber duel, I have to say.
Yes, that was another thing they showed in the trailer. To spoil, I mean, I'm not going to spoil the exact dialogue, but there was a real key bit of dialogue that Supreme Leader Snoke said in regards to Kylo Ren that I think is going to, it's going to really take the shape of the next 2 movies that we see. You know, there were those little hints and stuff along the way of maybe how they're building this up, and I gotta say, if it goes how I think it's going to go, it's going to be great. I love the fact that literally we got a cliffhanger ending.
Yeah, they did give you a cliffhanger ending on that.
It was definitely a cliffhanger ending.
Yeah.
And like I said, man, it has left me absolutely bloodthirsty for more Star Wars.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure that the next one's going to be maybe even better than this one.
I have to think so, man. I gotta ask you, if you had to give this either out of 5 or out of 10 or a letter grade, how would you rank this this episode 7?
3.5 out of 5 or an 8 out of 10.
I would give it a solid 4 out of 5. I mean, maybe even a 4.5.
Because there were some things that I would have liked to see more of the puppet use and stuff like that.
Yeah, for sure.
More practical effects. I mean, they did use tons of practical effects, is what I'm saying. But maybe the Master could have been something different, more like a Jabba type creature or something. Like, I don't know. It just seems so much cool. Like, Jabba the Hutt's so much more cooler than the Supreme Leader. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, I thought the Supreme Leader Snoke character was good for what it was. I went into it knowing that it was going to be a CGI performance.
Yeah,
by,
I know,
Serkis,
but
I believe.
Yeah, but still,
it
just didn't fit into the other movies to me. That character.
Yeah, he definitely looked more like something out of Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, something like, I know I've seen a movie with something like that in it.
Yeah, similar. I mean, the guy was the size of, what's that big thing that Luke Skywalker
Rancor
fights?
monster. He was bigger than that, really.
Yeah, he was bigger than the Rancor.
Yeah, I mean, this guy is enormous, so that'd be one of my complaints. Big. Another complaint is the comic parts that they, like you said.
Honestly, that's the number one thing that kept me from giving this movie like 5 out of 5, perfect, best ever.
And I didn't like that keeper of the lightsaber either.
Yeah, I kind of like that.
More of a Yoda puppet type character would have worked better, in my opinion.
I definitely see your point about the really CGI feel of that character. It definitely had that look in its animations and movements and stuff. It kind of felt like something out of a Disney Pixar movie, basically.
Yeah, they were strange looking too.
But, I mean, there's always those weird creatures.
Yeah, but
I like the majority of them. We saw some familiar faces.
I like that bar scene.
Yes, that was awesome. That was
and the
definitely
droid
awesome.
scene too, where they had a bunch of droids.
Gotta mention another positive quickly. John Williams with the score.
Oh, that was badass.
Always fantastic. I'm probably gonna go pick that up.
The score during the lightsaber duel was great.
Oh, the entire movie score was fantastic.
But that was my favorite song of the whole movie, was when they fought in the snow.
Yes, that was very, very epic. If you guys haven't seen it, get out there and see it.
Yeah, definitely get out to see it.
By now, chances are, unless you live in a huge city where there's just a ton of people, there's not going to be that many people at the showing. You should be able to get in there and watch it. No trouble. If you're one of those people like me who doesn't do opening nights, get out there and see it, because the only thing that keeps this from being perfect is that it's just too much of the cheesy dialogue. Cut that in about half and it would have been perfect. But I would say a solid 4.25 out of 5.
I'm going to get about 3.7 out of
3.7.
Yeah, just because of some of the... I already talked about the things that I didn't care for, but there were a lot of positives, and if you haven't seen the movie, definitely get out and check it out. And that is another movie review with the future, and I thank C-Dub for jumping on here and giving me his first impressions too. And the next movie, I'm not sure. I'm thinking Hateful Eight on Christmas I'm going to do a review for after I see it. So till the next movie review, I want to say peace out to everybody. Thanks, C-Dub. You want to plug Chronochord real quick and then call it a review?
For sure, man. You can check us out at www.chronochord.com. You can find us on the featured channels. You can find me every week over at the Brawl for All here with Jeff, the future.
Yes.
And yeah, just go check us out. We're on Twitter, Chronochord Media. You can Google us, CHRONOCHORD. Check us out. Give us a like, a sub. Jeff, always a pleasure.
Yeah, give me a like, a sub, and make sure you leave a comment on the review on how you think we did or what you thought of the movie, for sure. And yeah, thanks, C-Dub, and peace out as always. And may the Force be with you.
May the Force be with you.